Hi everyone, it's Linny. Welcome to my class by mail, the first one for 2023, and it's February. We're going to be making 3 cards, and I will be doing a separate video for each card, and I will upload those to YouTube and send you the 3 separate links once I have finished uploading those. So thank you so much for participating in my classes by mail. It's a great way to be able to do a class no matter where you live in Australia. So you'll be getting your kits in the mail, and I will also be sending you an electronic document with written instructions. It's not a full tutorial instruction sheet. It is just to complement the video. It gives you a list of supplies and measurements in case you need to refer to that in the future. So let's get started on our first card. It's called a double flap triangle fun fold. So you can make these in either portrait or landscape, but I've chosen to make it in portrait. And the DSP that I've included in your kit, which is the same as this, is cut in the portrait style. So if you wanted to make a landscape one in the future, you will need to cut your DSP accordingly, or just use a non-directional paper would work too. So it opens like this, and the insert piece is skinny because I did not want it to be seen after I closed my card. The one that I'll be making will be slightly different on the front, but yeah, basically the same you'll see as I'm making it. The one in your kit will be the same as the one I'm about to make now. So yeah, that's all. I think that's all I need to tell you about that. So let's get started. I highly recommend with fun folds that you make yourself a template first. I've just made one with just plain white cardstock that I will keep. I find that a lot easier than having to go back and read instructions and watch a video. So this is my template. And what I started with, so in your kit, you will have 2 card bases in Blackberry Bliss. I have already cut mine, but yours will be 2 full card bases. So it's just an A4 sheet cut in half and then scored in half to form a full card base. Now to get the cuts for the fun fold, all we need to do is to cut a diagonal piece off each card front and on the opposite sides. Okay, so you can, if you just imagine that has not been cut yet, and your card base closes like that, so you can see that each one has the diagonal piece cut from the opposite side. All right, so I have already cut mine, but I'll show you in your trimmer. If this hadn't been cut yet, all you would do, I'll just pretend that I'm going to cut this side. So all you would do is line up one corner with the score line in the track of your trimmer, and that's how you cut it. Really simple. Okay, so then we have our 2 card bases cut like that. And to make our fun fold, all you need to do is flip one of them around that way and stick them together. Okay, so you've got your 2 card bases like that. You're going to flip one that way and stick together in the middle. So then you will have that fold there. So it's as simple as that. So I have already stuck mine together, and this is what we end up with, okay, in our Blackberry Bliss colour. So now for your designer series paper. So in the piece in your kit, I cannot remember whether I trimmed it down to the size that you need. So just pop it in your trimmer and make sure that it is 14.35 by 10 centimetres. Okay, so all these measurements for this card are in centimetres. So 14.35 on that side and 10 centimetres on that side. And then we're going to do exactly the same thing. Pop it into our trimmer and cut it diagonally corner to corner. Okay. And as you can see, this is a directional piece of DSP, so we can, by cutting it this way, we can only use it for a portrait card, okay? If you want to make other cards that are this way, then either use a non-directional paper or just cut your designer series paper the other way so that you'll be cutting it so that it goes that way. Okay, it sits that way. Alrighty, but let's not confuse ourselves by thinking about that at the moment. All right, so we've glued our card base together, and so now we simply glue our designer series paper. When we flip this one over, it is also directional, but it's facing the same way, so it's all good. I prefer, you can decide which one you want. No, you can't. Hang on. Yeah, you can decide which flap you want to be on the outside and which one you want on the inside. It doesn't matter when you glue them down, because you can just fold it whichever way you like. Okay. I really like, I prefer using the liquid glue, the Tombow multi-purpose glue, because it gives me some, oops, that was good. It gives me some wiggle room when I stick it down to make sure that I've got all my everything on straight. Okay, and it's also a really strong glue too, so I'm just going to scrape off that bit of excess glue with a scrap piece of paper, and then when that's dried, I'll get my adhesive remover and get that off completely. All right, so this one's going on there. And if you're not used to using the liquid glue, just make sure you don't go too close to the edges, because it will ooze out. But it's so handy to be able to slide that into place. I've got glue on my fingers. Okay. So that's the front of our card done. The front fold bit anyway. Decorated. So I really like that. Okay, next. Before I start decorating the front, I'll show you the stamp set that I'm using and the dies to decorate this. So we've got the Queen Bee stamp set and the matching dies. Might just zoom out a little bit, I think. Oops, wrong way. Won't zoom out anymore. There we go. So we're going to be using the large bee stamp and die. We're going to be using the little word beloved, and we're also going to be using the this sort of grungy looking word stamp. It's just got some bee related words in it. And some speckles, and I just thought that was really nice and grungy looking. So the die, the bee die, that's him there. We're also going to be using the leaf die, and I think that's it for the dies on this one. Now, as I said, before we start decorating the front, I'm actually going to do my inside strip. Now, you'll need to work out yourself how wide you want your strip. I cut it down so there's you'll need to cut it down so there's a little border around top and bottom. I like to do that, so you'll probably need to cut yours down as well. But when you close it up, you won't really know until we've actually, yes you will. This piece here in your kit is going to go like that, with the bee and the leaves on top of that. So basically, if you put that in the middle, I don't want my paper to be protruding past that. So I have cut mine already to know that it won't be protruding past that, okay? So it's not just this point here, you'll notice on these edges here as well. See, if I pull that out more, I just slide that out a bit more, that bit might be covering, but these white bits are showing, and I didn't want that. So that is personal preference, but I thought it looked nicer without anything showing. I preferred the nice Blackberry Bliss colour to shine through there. Just zoom that back in. But because I have already cut mine, I'm going to do some stamping on that. I'm not going to stamp a greeting at this stage because I'm not exactly sure what I want to use this card for, but I'm going to get this grungy word stamp, and I'm going to get Blushing Bride, which is one of the colours in that paper, so I know it will go. And I just want to be really, really light. So I'm going to stamp off a couple of times and just come in on the edges of the paper. Doesn't matter if it comes into the writing area a little bit, because it's so pale you could write over it anyway. So if you don't have this stamp set and you weren't going to get it, you might have something else in your collection that's a bit grungy like that would work. And if there's any little spots that I want to fill in, I'll just do that. Yep, I'm happy with that. But also on the inside of the card, I'll just set that aside and I'll give that a bit of a clean off. So on the inside of the card, I also want, even though I want that Blackberry Bliss colour showing, I just want something there. So I'm going to stamp this in Blackberry Bliss so it doesn't stand out, but you'll be able to see something. It might be hard to pick up on camera. And I'm going to stamp it at full strength because it's the same colour. And I'm actually going to go all over the inside with this stamp. So I better get my scrap paper under that again. So and even down onto the triangle flaps. Okay. And I like, even though our greeting piece is going to be glued on top of this, I'm still stamping it because you'll see little bits of it poking out. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. Got some little, could use the little dots just in a couple of spots. Okay, so very easy, you don't have to take too much care with that. And now you'll see, well, I hope that the camera shows it anyway, that, move that out, you can just see, and it will lighten up as it dries, but it's just a nice subtle effect there. So anyway, that is personal preference. If you don't want to do that, then you don't have to. So let's get that a clean off. Okay, so that's our inside done. Now for our, I'm not going to glue that inside down just yet. Now for our bee, we'll stamp our bee, and I'm just going to grab a scrap piece of white and my bee, and I'm going to stamp him in Rich Raspberry actually instead of the Blackberry Bliss, because that will go nicely, but not quite as dark. And if you have this stamp set, or if you end up buying it, don't be surprised or disappointed when you stamp your bee. It is meant to be like a textured kind of effect when you stamp that. So I'll show you what I mean. See how you might think that it hasn't inked up properly, but that is how it's supposed to be. Okay, so we'll clean him off as well. And I'm going to die cut him out with the nice big bee die. Okay, and I've got some what's the name, tape here. And just to keep it, excuse me, I'm going to have to get my head in the shot, I think. Either my head will be in the shot or you won't be able to completely see what I'm doing. Because I want to make sure I just take a little bit of time to line him up properly. It's worth taking a little bit of extra time. Stick him down. And that side moved a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to use the mini machine. If you have the mini machine, I've got a couple of tips for you that Stampin' Up! Have told us. Because it's a smaller machine, apparently the tension in the machine is a fair bit tighter. That's how they've had to make it. I don't really understand the mechanics of it, but that's what they've told us. And they said the plates, sometimes if you put them through all lined up evenly like that, the tension in the machine is so tight that it won't actually let you put the plates through. It won't pick up the plates to go through. So what they say is to stagger your plates in a letter E formation. So you've got the base plate, the next clear plate back a bit further, and then the top plate up again, so that, I'm trying to angle it properly. Can you see that E pattern? Okay, so that's what I will do. I haven't, all machines are slightly different with the amount of tension. With any brand machine, each machine is slightly different. I haven't had that issue with mine, but that's what they recommend. So we've got our nice bee perfectly cut out. So he's very cute, isn't he? So I'll get rid of the machine. Okay, now I'll zoom in again. Oops, wrong way. Okay, now I have already cut out my leaves with that leaf die. So, you know, if you don't have that that set of dies, hopefully you've got a leaf punch or another kind of leaf die that you can use. So yeah, just choose something that's going to take up a decent amount of room in the middle without overwhelming the card, because we still want to see this lovely designer series paper. So what I am going to do is I'm going to have this, you'll have this in your kit, this Blackberry Bliss. Now I can't remember, hang on a second, I've still got one kit here. I'm just going to double check something. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did die cut that circle for you. However, if your image is a different size and you need to cut a piece underneath that's a different size, you can do that. But I want to layer my leaves under my bee before I put them on that circle. So I cut some out. Your kit will have that green and also the vellum leaves. I also wanted to add just a little bit of difference under there. So something like that, which then, just grab my tweezers to help me. I just like to have a look at it on the card and see what I think about that placement. Yeah, I don't mind that at all. Okay, so I'm going to just put a couple of glue dots to stick the leaves on with. Where is my other tool? It was sitting right here. There we go. I also highly recommend one of these tools if you don't have one. It's called a take your pick, something like that tool. And it has lots of different ends on it. So it's got a spatula end, and this end is the one I use the most. It's a putty end, so it's great for picking up tiny little embellishments or tiny pieces of cardstock or stuff like that. So let's see how we go with that glue dot placement. Yep, that's pretty good. And then I might actually put I want my other end. And I'll put him about there, I think. Okay, and I'm going to put him on the circle with dimensionals. I want him to sit up a little bit. So wrong box. Okay, so I like lots of dimensionals on things. I can't stand things sagging in the middle. And I'll put him about there. Just make sure, because he's overhanging, that you don't have any dimensionals on those exposed bits. And then we're going to stick him on, but we obviously need to be very careful to only stick him to this top flap here. So I will just okay. So that will be, I'm sure that will be enough glue. open that up just to be on the safe side. And I'm going to use my tweezers and just eyeball the middle of the card. And I think about there. I'll just double check the back of that to make sure I got that right. Yep, no glue showing. That's our front done. Liking that so far, I hope. Okay, now I'm just going to get my adhesive remover while I think of it. If you remember at the start, some of that glue got just about there, and it's got it. Okay, great. All right, now we can stick this piece in. And let's see how I went with that. Yep, I'm happy with that. There, I can see a tiny bit of white sticking out under there, but that vellum leaf covers that pretty much. And I can always lessen the border on this side if that bothers me. Oh, and I've got another little stamp for the front as well. Now, I didn't put this in the instructions, but this piece of mine is 6.7 centimetres. So that works obviously for the bee decoration on the front. But as I said, if you're using a different stamp set on the front, then you'll need to work that out yourself. Perfect. Very happy with that. So yes, there's one little bit of decoration on the front that I forgot about, and it... it's sitting right here and it's so tiny it slid off somewhere. Hang on, I think I can see it. Oh, lucky that didn't land on the floor. It's this tiny little Beloved from the stamp set. So that's that little stamp there. So I thought that was really cute. So I've already stamped him in, and I did him in Blackberry Bliss. So I am going to get a skinny little dimensional, and I'm going to pop him up over the top of the bee. So I'll get my teeny weeny dimensionals, and I may... yeah, I think a full one of those is all right. I might even use two. Just the perfect size. If you don't have any mini dimensionals, you can cut up the edges of your larger ones if you need tiny bits. So don't forget to use the edges of your dimensionals, because you'll get way more out of your dimensionals if you do that. I'm just going to put him, oops, underneath that heart about there. I just thought that was really cute. And that's our first card done. So I haven't put any extra bling on this card. I kind of thought there was enough going on there. But in your card kit, one of the envelopes or one of the card kits has got more bling in it than what I've used on the 3 cards. So if you want to put some extra bling on it, please feel free, but I am happy with that. So that's it for card number 1. Thanks for watching, and check out the second one soon and have fun making it. Oh, and make sure you put pictures up of the cards that you've made from the class. If you could post them in my Stampin' with Linny Facebook group, that would be lovely. We love to share our cards with each other on there so that we can get ideas and just enjoy seeing what other people are creating. So please do that if you're on Facebook. Okay, see you soon. Bye.